drums roar on a moonlit stage. Steel beasts roll a distant wage. Truckers' voices crying through the night. Tales of speed and endless fights. Miles and miles, all our strength we give. Hauling dreams, we fight to live. Lonely highways call our name. In this life, we find our fame. Neon lights and diner blues. Truck stops where we share the news. Turning wheels in endless miles. Stories fill the smoky aisles. Miles and miles, all our strength we give. Hauling dreams, we fight to live. Lonely highways call our name. In this life, we find our fame. Neon lights and diner blues. Truck stops where we share the news. Turning wheels and endless miles. Stories fill the smoky aisles. Miles and miles, all our strength we give. Hauling dreams, we fight to live. Lonely highways.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I hope all you truckers out there are doing good today. I hope that everything you did was safe, fun, and prosperous. Hey, we got a good show lined up for you tonight. We got Mr. Micheal Miltenberger coming on here, better known as Mikey, and we're going to have a good show with him tonight. And look here, summertime's upon us. Hey, the heat down here in South Georgia is just burning up, man. I'm telling you what, you walk out that door and it's just like you walking into a sauna. It'll just slap you smack in the face. But anyway, I hope y'all are staying cool, staying hydrated, and all that kind of good jazz. But we're going to have a good show. We got a lot to talk about with Mr. Miltenberger, and we might have a surprise guest come on with him. And but we're just going to find out all about him. We got a ton of things we want to talk to him about. But hey, if y'all see right up here in the corner, I've got a QR code up there. You can scan it with your phone if you're able, if you're not watching this on your phone. But if you are watching it with your phone, screenshot it, because you can actually open up a QR code after you screenshot something in your photos. But screenshot it. That's where you can go and get your T-shirts for truck. I love Truckers' Voices there, and we'll be glad to have your support. Everything that we have goes to support the show, to help keep us on the air, keep the platform going, and keep these good stories rolling to you there. So y'all scan that QR code. One more thing I'm going to talk to y'all about tonight before we bring the co-host on in here is I want to see y'all share the show. And here's the thing. I'm going to make a deal with you. And I'll go back tomorrow and I will check it out. But whoever I see sharing the show the most, I will give them one of those nice T-shirts. Okay. So I'll go back and I'll look and I'll see how many times you shared the show. And we will let you know if you are the winner of one of these. I love, let me see. Let me show it to you. I love Truckers' Voices TV T-shirts that we have here. So anyway, let me bring on Steve in here and let's get this thing rolling there. How about that? Okay. Everybody, he's rolling. Mr. Steve Brand.
I'm rolling, baby. I'm rolling.
Oh, you're riding dirty there, Steve.
Oh, you froze up on me a little bit.
Did I freeze up on you?
Yeah, you froze up a little bit, but I'm rolling and I'm riding dirty.
Oh, man, I tell you what, we got a good show lined up for us tonight, don't we?
Yep, buddy, we got a good one. I tell you what, we got a little cool front come through here. It's supposed to be beautiful this weekend. I can't wait to get out and practice, get a little sunshine.
Yeah.
Humidity's going down right now. It's 72, feels like 72, and humidity's 77%. So it ain't quite cooled off yet, but I'm looking forward to Saturday's practice because last week, it was terrible. It was terrible. Man, I mean, you just think about sweating and there it goes.
Right, right. Hey, there we go. I got this screen set up right. I was wondering. I was like, man, I was all on in your space there, Steve. I don't know what was going on, but I was all in your space.
I don't know. I tell you what, today has been a day. We'll just say it's been a day. It started raining. I went around one backup, got to the second one, went around that backup. Then I just set through the third one. Then a fourth one, I went around it, getting home. It's just a day in trucking. I tell you what, I just sat back, turned on the jukebox, and just said, you know what? I'll get there when I get there.
That's all you can do.
That's
Hey,
it. That's it.
I learned a long time ago in my 30 plus years of trucking there that if you make plans, they're going to get busted. Don't make plans in this industry.
No, and several years ago we used to switch runs with drivers on short runs, try to get back early, whatever. Take a late run, go doctor's appointments in the morning. Something would always happen. They'd cancel one of the two of your runs, and I don't know. It just. So now I just kind of live like, shh, don't tell nobody. I'm just gonna go do my job. I'm not gonna say a word about it and hope it works out.
There you go. There you go. So what do you think, Steve? What do you think about the little giveaway there? The most people the person that shares the show the most, man.
I like it. I think it's awesome.
And it's an awesome T-shirt too, isn't it?
Look at that. I'm sporting mine, baby. I'm sporting
Hey,
mine.
and we're bringing the hats back in the near future.
That's what I'm talking about. There you go. That's what I'm saying. Just remember, folks, we ain't making no money off of this. We're just trying to keep the show rolling. That's all we're trying to do.
That's it. That's it. We do have to pay for the streaming service to push it out to Facebook and YouTube and the other platforms. But other than that, hey, we just do it because we, absolutely like Steve's got his heart in the right place on that shirt.
Exactly.
We do it because our heart's in it, right?
Somewhere around here. There it is. Okay. Got my coffee.
All right, Steve, go ahead and put that disclaimer out there, buddy.
Okay, everybody remember the views of the guest and the host are them of themselves and do not reflect the views of others. I forgot exactly how it's worded, but in other words, leave your lawyers at home. We don't want to hear it.
You want me to say it right? The views expressed on the show are the host and the guest only and do not
I'm going to go
reflect
get
those
me
of others.
a plaque made and set it right here on my desk.
No, I'm going to put it back up on the I'll put it back up on the comments. I just got to get it all typed in there, But hey, I think that we have belabored this enough. Mr. Micheal Miltenberger, what a story he has got to tell, and before we bring him on, I'm going to go ahead and introduce him there. But we are looking forward to this. What I mean?
Exactly. And that's what this show is about, to find out about you, the individual, and trucking. How, what, when, where, and why.
Right. I'll tell you what, if you want to come on and tell your story, if you're listening to us on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, or if you're listening to us on the rebroadcast on the podcast on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, y'all give Steve and myself a call. We would love to have you on the show, or you can go to truckersvoices22@gmail.com. I'll put that up in there in a little bit. But yeah, y'all get a hold of us. We want to hear your story, okay?
Exactly.
All right, Steve. Let's go ahead and get into the show. So what I want to do now is I want to welcome to Truckers Voices tonight, Micheal Miltenberger. He is a very special guest that's joining us. He's a man who wears many hats in the trucking world and wears them all well. So please help us welcome Micheal Miltenberger, a professional driver, a safety advocate, and someone who truly embodies what it means to be a leader of the highway. Micheal, he is a seasoned trucker. He's a voice for the industry, committed to making roads safer and encouraging the next generation of drivers. Whether he's behind the wheel or he's behind the mic, Micheal brings passion and insight and a whole lot of heart to everything that he does. So buckle up, let's settle in, and let's get into this podcast because you don't want to miss this ride with Micheal Miltenberger. So right here on Truckers Voices. He's bringing him in on the champion song there, Steve.
Right.
Let's get it.
Hey, that's right up your alley there, Michael. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it's pretty
your
close.
area?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, welcome to Truckers Voices. We're so glad to have you on here. It's been a couple of weeks that you and I have been talking
sir.
back and forth, and I'm just excited to hear your story and hear about yourself and everything that you've got to tell us tonight. And I know the listening audience is whether they're riding or listening live or listening to us on the replay. Hey, I think you're going to bring a lot of good stuff to the platform and to the show tonight. Steve, welcome, Michael.
Welcome, Mikey. Appreciate you coming on, buddy.
Thank you. I'm glad for the opportunity to get on here.
Yes, sir. And I just want to say we was talking a little bit pre-show how we met each other, and we named about 4 or 5 different charity events.
Mm-hmm.
You never know who's going to be there. And,
No, you don't.
and you said it best. You try to run around and meet as many people as you can. And if your memory's about as long as my little finger, I'll turn around, go get a hot dog, come back and say, what'd you say your name was?
Yeah, you have to go around, just start stepping on everybody's toes, and they'll remember you.
Exactly. Exactly. But that's this world that we live in, the trucking industry. You either see each other at pickups or truck stops or charity events or something, but I don't want to belabor that. I want to hear about you, my friend.
Well, is there you go?
Okay. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from, and how did you first get into trucking? That's where we start.
First off, with being you put the disclaimer out there, got something I'd like to say is I want to give all the glory to God, because if it wasn't for Him,
Amen.
Probably wouldn't be sitting here. The way the roads are today, it's a tough industry. And, but I started out as my parents had a dairy farm in a little town called Ridgely, West Virginia, and grew up on the farm. One of the first memories I can remember of actually driving anything, took Dad lunch down in the field one day, and he was plowing, and he said, well, come on, get on here, we're burning daylight. I said, what? He said, get on here. He put me in the seat, set the tractor up, and cut me loose there. He sit on the fender, and I was driving and made a few rounds, and get at the end of the furrow, he says, he says, you keep going. He said, I'll be back in a little bit. Well, he went up and got one of the other tractors and come down and dropped in behind me. And, just to roar that diesel engine purring, up and down through the field, it just kind of, lit the spark. And then with having a dairy farm, we had a milk truck that come in there all the time. And big 379 Peterbilt come down to pick up the milk. And I'd always aggravate the driver when I was there, wasn't out doing something, working or whatever. And told him, I said, I'm going to drive that truck up out of here one of these days. And he says, well, young man, he said, let me tell you something. He said, stay out of them trucks. He said, there ain't no life for, a young guy. So I was like, well, I said, it looks fun. And I was kind of surprised him one time. I jumped in the truck there, and he come walking up after he finished loading the milk. And I'm sitting in the driver's seat. He says, boy, what did I tell you? And he said, I said, well, I'm going to drive up out of here. He said, well, I'll make you a deal. He said, if you get to where you can push that clutch in and not adjust my seat, I'll let you drive up out of here. But Dad probably doesn't know this, and I believe him and Mom are actually watching at home. But he actually, I got a little bit older. I think I was about 11 or 12 years old. And old Jesse, he come walking up there, and he says, boy, when he opened the door, he said, you're scared the daylights out of me, son. And I said, well, look at this. And I pushed the clutch in, and I was able to put it in gear. And he says, daggone it. I knew I should have never told you that. So he ended up letting me drive it up out of there. And I loved that. That was pretty cool. So, but then from one thing to the next, Dad he run a truck crop there. We haul corn to Pittsburgh and stuff like that. So going up there, seeing the big trucks down on the Strip District in Pittsburgh, it just, everything, around the farming industry, it just kind of one thing led to another, and put me where I'm at. And I can't thank my parents enough for all the values and everything they've instilled in me to be a hard worker and go after what I want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can kind of relate to your story there. I grew up on a farm, and I was on the tractor when I was 11 years old, and I was spraying cotton and hair in the fields too. And I had somebody ask me one time, and this guy was from somewhere else. I ain't gonna say where he's from, but he asked me, he said, "Man, what's that you talking about,
Mhm.
harrowing?" And I was like, "Well, that's where you turn the ground over, get it ready for if you had a crop or
Right.
whatever." But he had never heard that word or that
Mhm.
term before. But anyway, so what inspired you to choose trucking as a career? Was it something in the family or a personal calling? I know they got to do with the
Yeah.
farm, but what really
Well,
inspired you?
working on the farm, I was kind of in between jobs. I'd actually, my senior year of high school, I'd help Dad 'cause, we'd work off the farm there on the weekends a little bit for another trucking company. And actually, we washed trucks and stuff. And I just, went down and helped with that. And we'd work about 40 hours or so on the weekend. And just, moving the trucks around down there, kind of edged the bug on a little bit. Really inspired me. And then Dad got his own truck and drove it some, and I'd go with him. And he said to me one time, driving down the turnpike over in PA, he says, "You want to drive?" I said, "Sure." He has an old Kenworth cab over, and 1975 cab over with a 13 speed in it, and got in that driver's seat. And he talked to me a little bit about it, what to do, what to look for, that sort of thing. And we started down the turnpike. And boy, I just thought I was king of the road. That's pretty awesome. So, that kind of really, it just like one thing led to another and kept building me up. And I was like, yeah, maybe this is something I want to do.
Yeah,
Right,
you kind
right.
of touched on that, but do you remember your first job, first day out behind the wheel of a big rig, and
Yeah,
how'd that
that,
feel?
well, it felt pretty amazing, but scared all at the same time.
Amen.
Like, yeah, you just didn't know what to, I didn't know what I was getting into. And, being out there by myself, because any other time, previously, either Dad was with me or somebody, kind of had somebody to mentor me and tell me what to look out for. And, just when I got my CDLs and started driving professionally for Pitt, Ohio, um, it just, I didn't know what I was getting into. And I can remember it was a R model Mac, and with the old 5 speed in it. And I made some local pickups here and around the Cumberland area and up to West Virginia. I actually went up and picked up a load of rolls of plastic that they used to make bags, and they ship out to Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. And that was the first full load that I actually picked up. And my boss told me there, he says, "Well, when you get back," he says, "stay hooked to that trailer because you're going to take it out to Ohio and deliver it tomorrow." And I was like, "Wow, right out of the bag, I'm on the road." So, yeah, but
So
it's
so with all that being said, was there a mentor or someone that you looked up to that kind of took you underneath their wing and
um.
shaped you to be what you are today? Or
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll be honest with you. I've had so many mentors, guys. Like when I started with Pitt, Ohio, there was the other drivers that were there at the time, and one of them, he probably kicked me in the rear end for saying it, but I'm going to call him out here. His name's Dean Yockey. He ended up being our safety guy for a long time, which he has recently retired. I'm sure you know him.
I know Dean. Dean's a
Yes, sir.
great man.
Yeah, but I always looked up to him. And he didn't really know it for a long time, but he was one of my uh, heroes. I always thought the world of him. And the funny thing is with him, as I got into the driving competitions, my kids started calling him Uncle Dean. So
So Mikey, how many years have you been in the trucking industry altogether, and what kind of changes have you seen over the years? And
well, I'll say I've been with Pitt, Ohio. It'll be 35 years here in November, and I can remember starting out. Everything was paper back then, and just the transition of the paper going to e-logs and the equipment. You just had like you started out with your old R models with no Jake brake and just an old what were they, 290 Mac with a 5 speed, and then we moved up to
And a steering
10.
wheel this big.
Yeah, exactly. And the old Camelback suspension. and just went up. Things just progressed into the air ride suspension, Jake brakes, and bigger transmissions, and now we're into the automatic stuff. It just I never thought I'd see automatic transmissions in a big truck as a standard thing.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I drive an automatic, and I remember when we were transferring over to automatics. Our whole fleet now basically is automatic. But man, there were some people that was like, I ain't doing it. This is not right. And it was just like the ELD when ELD come out. I'm never going to do that. Well, they love it.
Yeah. Oh, I love it when I get in traffic jams. Your left leg don't hurt. Your right arm don't hurt. It's. But excuse me. Well, we're kind of talking about trucks, and you said you started out like in your dad's cab over at Kenworth, and then you went to Pitt, Ohio, and you started out your professional career in a Mack. What other kind of trucks have you been in throughout your career?
I've been in a 379 Pete. That was a really fun truck to drive. A close friend of ours. Actually, he's my son's brother-in-law has it, but it's a super nice truck. Been in, of course, Dad's cab over. Had a 579 Peterbilt. That was actually with Pitt, Ohio, and that's one of my favorite trucks I had. It was a nice riding truck. Of course, all kinds of Macks, the Sterlings. Oh, geez. Trying to think what else. An old running old International with a Detroit in it with a 10-speed. It's actually a 2-speed rear end.
Right. With
a 5-speed. That thing would deafen you, but make you a little hard of hearing. But been around, been in a lot of different trucks. I actually drove a W900 for a friend of mine one time, hauling stone for him. It was a tractor trailer, but that was a nice truck too.
Now I'm just going to kind of go out on a limb. We'll touch base a little more on this, but you're talking about a 379 big hood. You're talking about a W9 big hood.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say this real quick, then we'll come back to it. But we all three of us do the truck driving championships. Could you imagine trying to do some of them problems in a big hood?
Oh, it's possible. Anything's possible.
It's possible. Yeah. They might have to widen that course a little bit.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because the state of Maryland one year, I can't remember what year it was. If I look at my notes here, I could probably figure it out. I did flatbed one year, and they actually had I think it was a 379. And you want to talk about tight? It was tight. The spread axle trailer trying to get that around the course. Yeah, it was tough, but I made it around. But I think that year, I can't find my notes here, but I ended up placing fourth that year in that class. But it was interesting.
Well, yes, sir. That's the thing. I just got an off the wall question. It's a truck driver question. You said they had a 379 Pete with a spread axle, probably a 48.
Yep.
Had a 10-2 spread. Mm-hmm. Did they have a dump valve? Did they let you use it?
Well, no. The thing is, the tractor was actually a fuel truck, so it wasn't matched up with the trailer. So it didn't have the dump valves to match the trailer. So
right, yeah. And if it had a lift axle, that'd be awesome, especially on a course. You wouldn't have to worry about kicking that rear end out.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, you never know where those rear ends are going to be because every time the pitch of the fifth wheel,
right.
I've watched this one time at Nationals, and I had a friend that was competing in the flatbed class. So I watched the whole class, and every truck that went around the left turn, the pitch on that fifth wheel made the trailer do something different. I actually saw the one guy went around, and it just looked like that trailer just floated.
Right.
And, you never knew where it was going to, what axle it was going to pivot on. Sometimes it pivoted off the rear axle or the front axle. You just didn't know. And you'd see somebody line up. You think, man, all right, he's going to get, you're out there rooting them on,
Right.
And next thing you know, that trailer just takes off. It's like, what in the world just happened there?
See,
it's interesting.
and speaking of that, the one year that Scott did his flatbed class, I think it was 16 when he won in St. Louis. I run out in St.
Mhm.
Louis, Washington. Of course, that's where I'm from. And
Right.
anyway, the center manager rented a flatbed for the weekend to
Mhm.
practice with, and I'm following him around, and he had a right turn, had to hit it on the rear axle, and the closer he got with that front spread, it would pull that back spread away, and I didn't realize it pulled it
Oh, yeah.
away that much. And boy,
Yeah.
it's like holy cow.
Mhm.
That's why I kind of made that mention about a dump valve. They let you use it.
Exactly. Yeah. That'd be cool. Yes,
Hey,
sir.
Mikey. So what's your favorite truck model?
Oh my. I would have to say the Peterbilt. I mean, it's for what I've drove, um, the Peterbilt was an outstanding ride, and just I loved the truck. It was comfortable, and that's the thing. You're out there running up and down the road. You want to be in something comfortable. It's rough
Right.
enough as it is, and a lot of people don't understand. You're out there running around your passenger vehicle, hitting potholes and bumps in the road, and you get in a truck, and it's like 10 times worse in a truck what it is in your personal vehicle, and a lot of people don't understand that. So having a nice riding truck, that means the world.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. And the company that Steve and I work for, over the years, they have really put a lot of emphasis on the driver's seat, and we've really come a long ways. And I'm
Yeah.
sure your company has too, because that's very
Mhm.
important. Because we are in and out and sitting in those trucks a long time. But anyway, have you always driven for Pete Ohio, or what some of the other companies
Well,
that
like I
you've
said, I
driven
worked
for?
drove. I didn't work for Dad, but I just drove with him, and they said on the weekends when we worked, actually worked for DM Bowman and Frederick down at their flatbed division, and that's where I got a little experience. Basically, just moving the trucks around the yard, that sort of thing, and did a couple other things, but we don't want to talk about that right now. But then I started Pit Ohio.
Wait. That makes for good
Yeah.
listenership there. Come on, tell
Well,
us a little bit about that.
they would ask, whoever's in the dispatch office, and like I said, this is back in the '80s, so people didn't really care about the laws or who was doing what. If you even had your license, they come over and say, "Hey, need something run over to Tamco, or we go over to pick up a load." So they come over to the shop and get guys to go over there and pick up loads over there, load it on the flatbed, and you throw a couple sets of straps across there and strap the load down, sign the bill, and bring it back to the yard. Just doing things like that. It just, the experience from that, it all pays off. You pick up on all that kind of stuff, and you see different views all the time. How the industry works.
Right.
But
Right.
Exactly. I know back in was it 90? I think it was. I worked for a company out of Morton, Illinois. They got gobbled up by Swift, but they had a flat division and a van division. I run the van division, but I just come out of a flatbed, and they asked me to run up to Hennepin to load a coil. So I loaded the coil, had a 48-foot trailer, slid the tandems all the way forward. I tarped it, chained it just like I always did, pulled back in the yard, and here come the safety. Oh, you can't chain like that. That's not how we do it. I'm like, safe to me. So I just dropped the trailer and said, if you don't like how I do it, don't ask me to do it again. Do it yourself. But, I know you guys got aluminum wheels, and I see some chrome on your wheels and stuff, but do you kind of customize your truck, or have you ever customized your truck and make it fit your needs? I mean, without drilling holes and all that stuff. But,
well, yeah, I try to, try to keep my truck clean, keep the wheels polished up, and just take a little pride in it. I mean, you go and jump in your truck and it's all dirty. It's just like, man, just whatever. You keep your truck clean, nice. People see that, it makes the company look good, and it makes you proud, and you're riding down the road and the kids see you, nice, clean, shiny truck. They're out there pumping their arm. That's just cool. You riding down the road in a nice, clean truck, and the kids do that. It just, toot the air horn for them. That just makes your day. Yeah.
It does.
Yep. Keep
It
your
sure
shirt
does.
pressed, keep yourself your beard
There you go.
trimmed up, your goatee trimmed up, you shaved up, whatever. You know,
Yeah.
don't want to
Yeah.
walk in with your flip flops and
Yeah.
and
Amen.
ain't had a shower in 2 weeks. And just saying,
All that a couple times.
you know when
Oh yeah.
you know it's bad when you walk in to pay for your fuel, and the lady
Mhm.
behind the counter, the guy in front of you steps up and she steps back 3 steps.
Oh yeah. Oh
Right.
yeah.
You're like, you're on that side, I'm on this side. Your fan's
Mhm.
going this way, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Mikey, you know, it's summertime and, you know, the road's heating up some. And a couple of weeks
Oh, yeah.
ago, I blew a tire and I actually
Wow.
sat beside the road for about 4.5 hours waiting for the vendor.
Mhm.
And then, you know, time he got there and changed me, it took a while. But have you ever broke down in the middle of nowhere? And, you know, if you did, what kind of truck were you driving? One memory that you can remember that's one bad breakdown that you want to share with us.
Well, one that I can remember is had a blowout, and I was driving up the interstate, and that tire, when it come apart, the cap was coming off of it, and it was eating the mud flap, and it pulled the daggone bracket up into the other tire, and by the time I got off the road, it was just making all kinds of noise and racket, and I ended up getting over on the shoulder of the road and tried to pull the mud flap back and get it kind of straightened out a little bit. And I called in. They put me through to breakdown and told them what was going on. And I told them I was going to try to get on up the road here somewhere safe, and end up wasn't working out so well. So I started brainstorming. I was like, I got to do something here because this just isn't safe where I'm at. Need to get out of here. So I thought, I've got a couple straps in the back of this trailer. It's got hooks on them, and I had a little bar in there. And I was like, well, I pulled up alongside the guardrail real close, and I got the hooks and got them in there and hooked on the bead of the tire, and took that bar and popped the bead over the edge of the tire. got a hold of the other side, and end up working that tire, just using them straps and a bar, and popped that tire off, and just basically singled it out, just getting that tire off there so it wasn't beating things up.
Right.
Threw it in the back of the trailer. I was like, I think that'll be all right. And I brought it on up the road, and it saved me from sitting there because where I was at, it's hard to tell. It'd been several hours before anybody got to us, and I just didn't want to sit there.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
It's amazing how creative you can get whenever you're kind of sort of in a dangerous spot. You want to get out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, getting dark out, and you just don't know what's around.
Well, with that being said, what's a typical week look like for you on the road?
Well,
I know you said you do city, but sometimes you do a little road work and stuff like that. So what's a typical week look like?
Well, anywhere from, usually on a typical day, and I would say an average day, 12 to 14 deliveries a day, and anywhere from, could be maybe one pickup, go somewhere and do a drop and hook, or it might be 8 to 10 pickups on top of the delivery. So, I mean, you could be making 20, 25 stops a day, just, making deliveries and pickups. And the run that I had been doing for a good while, I probably run it for 11, 12 years, something like that, pretty consistently. Was running down to Harrisonburg, Virginia, and I'm running anywhere from 300 to close to 350 a day, and running all those deliveries. So makes a pretty good day, big week.
Right.
But
that's a big pedal run.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because
go ahead. I'm sorry.
A stem time from a terminal to the first exit was about 125 miles. So a lot of running in between, just getting to where you need to go, start making your deliveries.
Right.
You definitely outside that 150 mile air radius.
It's right on the bubble. Right.
Yeah. You just get comfortable, and it's time to go to work.
Oh yeah.
And with that being said, this thought just hit me. For you folks listening that really don't know or always have a question, they wonder why, as a truck driver gets older, his back is killing him, the rough roads. Knees are killing him. You're in and out of that truck 40 to 50 to 100 times a day. Yep. So, there's a lot more to this job. Just sit there looking pretty, holding the steering wheel. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of places too. you get there to deliver, and you get to know the customers, and it just, to help yourself out. You jump out of the truck, you go in. Hey, I got 4 skids for you. All right, just you know where to put them. Jump on the truck, grab your pallet jack, yank them off, put them on the dock.
Right.
You sign your bills and back out the door. And that's the thing. You got to do what you got to do to save time to get back home.
Exactly.
So Mikey, so you being a city driver, what's one of your favorite routes to run, or where do you like to run the most? How about that? What's your favorite?
Well, my favorite run was down to Harrisonburg. It's a nice, you get on the interstate, you get some time to think about your day, kind of plan it out. And that town was set up really nice, for a truck. I mean, a lot of the people, it's a big college town, JMU's down there. Once the college kids start rolling in, it's not so fun all the time till the kids that come in, especially the freshmen, when they come in and they don't know the rules of the road and they kind of crowd you, but they figure it out because after they get pushed around a little bit, not to say that to be unsafe, but they pull up across to the stop lines and stuff. And once they figure that out, hey, them stop lines are there for a reason. They back up and give you a little bit of room. But for the most part, though, that town is set up really nice for trucks, and that's why I like it so much down there.
Right. So what kind of makes that route stand out as far as any other route? Because it's easy, or you like it because of that reason, or is there something special that makes it stand out? I guess is what I'm trying to get to.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's easy. It just and I'll tell you what the biggest thing is going down there and making a connection with all the customers, and becoming friends with some of them, get to know them, and that's what makes it so nice is being able to go in and just chat a little bit as you're doing your job, getting the truck unloaded or making your pickups, and everybody treats you really good, and it just makes your day go so much better. If you go, you're bouncing around, you don't know the customers, you're just kind of in and out, it's not personable. And
right.
As long as we're out in the truck, it's nice to have somebody to talk to, and it just breaks up the monotony of the day.
Right.
Well, how do you stay motivated? I mean, like you said a while ago, your first delivery, you drove 125 miles.
About a pot of coffee to start out the day.
There you go. There you go. Strong coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, because you just get comfortable in that seat. Now you've got to twist your mindset. You jump off the exit, and you've got bam, 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 several stops in a row.
Right.
You got to get your mind focused. What keeps you motivated, energized? How do you focus? Things of that nature.
Well, that's the thing. You have time to think about your run going down the road. So what I would typically do is I'm going down the road, I'm thinking, and you get familiar with what your stops are before you leave the terminal. So you kind of plan things out and you're thinking, okay, I got this. You're looking at the time, just paying attention to the time as you're going down the road. It's like, all right, I can get in here and get this stop off, and I can go do this, do that. And just basically make a plan, and you set goals for yourself, and you just keep plugging away at it. And the thing is, you got to be versatile too, because when something, you get into a customer, they might be on lunch and you can't get the delivery off, whatever. All right, well, I can change this up. I can go do this, and just be able to make a change and make things happen. But it just keeps you going.
Now you're over there in that Cumberland area, so you got the mountains of Northern Virginia, Eastern West Virginia. You got Pennsylvania coming down.
Yes, sir.
You get a lot of harsh winter weather.
Oh yeah. Yep.
How do you prepare for that?
Well, being that I grew up here, it's just like my nature. You learn how to deal with it, and it's just when it happens, you just go with it. I don't do anything special, just basically just staying prepared. I take a bag and keep it with me, and that way if anything does happen when I'm out on the road, I'm prepared, have extra clothes, carry some extra food, water, whatever you need. And that's the key to everything, staying healthy on the road, keeping supplies, what you need to keep yourself going.
So Mikey, being I know you're a family man, and
Yes, sir.
You run P&D, and then sometimes you say you run some line haul every now and then.
Yeah, if we have some daytime line haul to pop up, and I can jump on that, I'll run the line haul, and it gives you a little break in the action there, and just kind of think about the day and kind of kick back and relax a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So what's been some of the biggest challenges as a professional driver, or one of the biggest challenges?
Oh my goodness, there's different ones, but just the people on the road, and you're trying to stay safe, and you're out there driving around, and a lot of people don't realize what we go through on a daily basis. We're out there trying to work, and they might be on vacation, or they're going to a birthday party, or this and that and the other. People aren't paying attention to what they're doing,
Right.
and they get up there and they cut you off and whatever. They're all in a big hurry and not worried about the next guy. But that's one of the biggest challenges, is just worrying about that, and worrying about the equipment. Sometimes you having breakdowns. You just things like that could happen, and just what if you got to always have something in the back of your mind, playing if this happens, that happens, whatever, and it all boils down to being prepared.
Right.
Having a backup plan.
Right, right. And I noticed over your shoulder there, I see some of your TDC trophies and all that. And that's the one thing that challenge that all of us that compete has had, is staying safe every year. And so does that sometimes, like when you're between now, when you won your state and you're going to nationals, I mean, are you more aware now than any other time, or you're always aware?
Well, I'm always aware, because I tell you what, it don't start when you place in your state to go to nationals. It starts the day after nationals. You're watching everything from the day after nationals up to your state competition, and then once you qualify, it's like kicking into overdrive. You're really watching. But and it's funny that you mentioned that, about nationals, that once you qualify to go to nationals, then it's like everything's intensified, and you see more things going on around you, and you're like, I've never saw this before. Everybody said, man, you ain't gonna believe this, but everybody thinks you saw everything. But it just seems like as soon as you think that, something else happens. Like, what in the world?
Yeah.
Right.
Going down a 4-lane interstate, the guy pops over a hill, and you swear he's coming on your side.
Oh yeah,
It's like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Got to stay
Oh,
alert. And that's the thing.
exactly.
Like I don't know how you guys' truck set up, but we got a safety tool on our truck. It tells the speed of the car in front of us,
Oh yeah.
tells the following distance.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we have a minimum of 2-second following distance. If you're less than 2 seconds for more than 3 minutes, it takes a video, sends it to safety.
Yeah.
Well, like you were saying, you're
How do you
doing
know
it
that, Steve? How do you know that? Jason?
because I'm looking at my all day long. They say check your mirrors every 5 to 8 seconds. I'm looking at that dash, everything in between, plus everything going around me.
Mhm.
And sometimes I think I'm a cartoon character. The head spinning around and eyes going this way, and
You got to live in that truck with your head on a swivel. You got to be aware of everything on, around you, 360 degrees all day long.
that's the thing. You're setting yourself up for safety. You're keeping a safe
Mhm.
following distance. You're watching this guy come up beside you. He's weaving at you. He's
Oh yeah.
on his phone,
Oh
and you can
yeah.
tell by their actions what they're getting ready to do. So you start slowing down, because
Mm-hmm.
he's going to cut between you and the vehicle in front of you. And
Right.
that's what
Yeah.
I like about teaching Share the Road.
Oh yeah.
Try to
Yeah.
get in these young people's head. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
not just you in that vehicle, it's the people beside you, the people in
Yeah.
front of you, the people behind you. Everything you do creates a chain reaction.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I tell you, every morning I start out the day before I pull out in the truck. I bow my head and I say a prayer. Watch out for everybody around me and protect us. And
yep,
it's you need it. You need something, because you got to have a saving grace there somewhere.
exactly. Exactly. Uh, Speaking of that, what advice would you give to someone who is just starting their career in trucking?
Well, I tell you, the main thing is learn your vehicle. All four corners. We talk about this when we're training, and talk. You learn all four corners of your vehicle, so you know where that vehicle's at all the time. And once you know where that vehicle's at, it helps you to be a little bit more confident, and keeps you out of trouble. And if you don't know, and you're just kind of out there just winging it, and you're just asking for something to happen. But being prepared and knowing your vehicle is the main thing. Just
Mikey, I'm going to break in here, and I'm going to open up the phone lines. And if anybody wants to call in and ask you some questions themselves, we always invite them in at the quarter quarter to the top of the hour. And
right.
but anyway, but we'll continue on with the questions. But if somebody calls in, we'll just break right into the phone call. How about that?
Sounds good.
And so I put the phone number up there on the line. I'll put it in the chat here in a minute. The number is go ahead and read the number off there, Steve, and we'll just get right back with it.
251-616-2151. 251-616-2151.
So
almost said swap and shop.
Go ahead, Steve. I'll set up the number in the chat, and then I'll just join the conversation. Okay.
Okay, no. Mikey, how do you stay sharp with all the changes in the regulations? I mean, we hear about them daily.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you what, our safety department, if I need something, I can always call them. And, they'd rather us call if we have a question, a concern, especially a hazmat issue. They would rather us call them and check in with them, say, hey, I got this going on, or I have this hazmat, something don't look right here, read out the information, tell them what we got going on. And they're really tremendous about helping us out, because they'd rather hear from you before something happens than after something happens. So they want us to call in, and that helps us to stay sharp and know what we need to do. I give them kudos for all their expertise in that part.
Yeah, and this new administration we got is really in for the trucking industry. And I don't mean in to get us. I mean, they're in with the trucking industry. They want to make life easier for us. They're working on more parking spaces.
Yes, sir.
You not being too far from the Buckeye line, you may have noticed on my Facebook the other night, OTA just celebrated a bill that was passed, was $150 billion for parking spaces. I mean, that's it. Safety and this new administration is all about the trucking industry.
It's been a long time coming.
Yes, it has. Got kind of an interesting question for you here. If you could go back and talk to yourself on your first day,
Wow.
What would you say to yourself?
Oh my goodness, what am I getting into?
I was going to bring it up a while ago when you said that gentleman that pulled up in the 379, and you showed interest in getting in that truck, and he told you stay out of that truck.
Yeah.
So my question there was, how come us old hands, and my dad did it. We tell them to stay out of the truck, but we go get back in that truck every day because we love it.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a tough question, but it becomes an addiction. There's people get addicted to certain things, and I'll say it stemmed from, the first time I drove the tractor with Dad there when I was 7 years old. Just that the purr of that diesel engine, there's just something about it. When it gets into your heart, baby, it's there for life. Can't get rid of it. And then, and Dad said to us boys one time, I have two other brothers and a sister, and Dad he would kind of say, he said, you boys, he said, your toys just keep getting bigger. So,
boy, ain't that the truth?
Yeah,
the truth
for sure.
And the more you make, the more you spend on your toys.
Oh yeah.
With that being said, on a personal view, when I stepped in a truck, I told myself, go out and have fun, learn this job, learn everything you can learn about it.
Exactly.
But I had a direction I was going. I just didn't know how long it was going to take to get there.
Right.
It took 7 years, and I finally got out of the big sleeper truck, and I got in a day cab, and then I had to work my way to get where I'm at today. But I had a goal, and that's what I tell people too is figure out what you want to do and
Yep,
set
exactly.
your sights on it and go for it.
Right.
But just know it's going to be a lot of stumbles trying to get there.
Oh yeah.
You got to learn. You're going to make mistakes. You trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe you'll go to an area you don't like to go to. First time I went to Hunts Point, I'm like, what is this?
And that's something else too. And I'm 54 years old, and I'm actually a driver trainer also. And I tell all my guys when I'm training, I said, don't ever stop learning. I said, learn everything you can, and it just makes your day so much easier. And the more you know, the better off you are. And something else with that is, you know, we all go through DOT checks. Know your truck, doing a good pre-trip every morning. You get in that truck and start down the road after you know what's going on with it, and you pull into a DOT check and they start asking you questions. You can rattle off what you have, and like if you're hauling hazmat, whatever, if you could tell them what's going on, their chances are they're going to give you a good report, and you're going to move on down the road.
Oh yeah.
So, Mikey, is your son in the area, or?
As a matter of fact, he's standing here looking at me.
Tell him to come on the screen.
Yeah. I'm going to try something. I don't know if it's going to work. We'll have to share earbuds. So I'm going to have to give him one of my earbuds and see if it works.
All right.
That'd be fine. And
Here
his
he
name
comes.
is?
Cole.
Cole. All right, Cole, welcome to Truckers Voices, and he is our
Yeah.
special.
You want
Cole
to pull
is
that
our
chair over?
special guest.
You may have to take your hat off here.
But it's a father-son, and there's a reason that we did this. I'm going to let Mikey tell everybody and what's going on there and why we brought Cole in on this interview.
Well, so what happened is I've won the 5-axle class 2 years in a row in the state of Maryland. So once you do that, they require you to switch classes. And I was like, well, what am I going to do here? So I thought, well, I'm just going to go ahead and jump over to the 4-axle class. It's pretty similar to what the 5-axle is, just one less axle. So, and that's Cole's actually competed in the 4-axle class. And in 22, he was actually this state 4-axle champion in Maryland, and got to go to nationals in 22 out in Indy.
Don't forget Rookie of the Year.
And he also, and the funny thing about that is he told me, he said, Dad, he said, I'm going to do something you've never done. I said, what's that? He says, I'm going to win my class, I'm going to win Rookie of the Year, and I'm going to win Grand Champion. I said, well, better step it up. So,
That's awesome.
but he did, and he actually won Rookie of the Year that year and hit first place in his class and went to nationals. So
Congratulations.
Well done.
So then, and of course, that was the first year he was eligible to drive because he had just recently got his CDLs. So he was fresh out of the box, and for him to be able to do that.
It was 4 months. 4 months, and I had my Class A's and went to the state competition. I had my Class E's prior. I had Class B's prior. But 2019 is when I got my Class B's. Everything shut down because that wonderful thing called COVID.
Right.
And, that was almost a no-go there, too, because literally when I got my permit is when they started shutting everything down. And lucky enough, my dad was a trainer, said, hey, because they were shutting down training, no 2 guys in a truck.
Yeah.
Right. And we got the okay.
We lived together.
We lived in the same household.
So
they gave us the go.
Yeah.
So, Cole, how does it make you feel? Because not a lot of people have this experience that you and your dad have. How does it make you feel going to nationals with your dad?
Well,
Ah,
that was our goal. That was definitely our goal. We every year, whenever we start focusing back into competitions, and everything, we focus on what we're going to do every year and write down on a notepad our goals. And when we realized it was going to align that, hey, we're going to be in the same class. I'm competing in West Virginia. He's competing in Maryland. Let's do this. Let's go to nationals together. Let's be in the bullpen together.
Nice.
And, this podcast ain't going to help, but we're going to go to the bullpen and act like we don't know each other. But hey, that's where it is.
Yeah. Yeah, like we talked there before the show. Cole and I have actually talked about this. Wondering if it's ever happened before, where father and son have actually went to nationals together and competed in the same class.
Right.
I don't know if maybe Jacob would be able to give us a little insight on that or not, Jacob Pierce. But
I'm sure he would.
I know that there's been father and son that have went the same year, but they were in different classes.
Right.
So
right.
But I just think it's a unique situation, and it's going to be a blast. I'm so excited.
It'd be awesome if y'all made it into the top 5 for sure.
Well, that'd be awesome.
I don't know if my mom can take it.
Yeah, we got mom.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do is if y'all do it, we'll have her come on the show next time.
There you go. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
She'll be coming in with her oxygen mask and everything else on.
She might need it in Minneapolis.
Yeah, when I read that on your Facebook post when she put that on there, I thought, now that is awesome. That is awesome. And but that's hey, I'm gonna love meeting y'all up there in Minneapolis and talking to y'all. And Cole, I know you said you started out with a Class B, so I'm glad you're not in straight truck. Okay. I couldn't handle you two in a straight truck.
Yeah. Hey, I'm better in a tractor trailer than I am straight truck. I promise you that. If it bends in the middle, I like it better.
I hear you. But I'm struggling through. The hardest thing I got is when I practice a backing. Invariably, I'll do it 2 or 3 times. I just tell myself, you're in your pickup. You're in your pickup. You're in your pickup. And invariably, Saturday, I went to back up, did it 2 or 3 times. No problem. Next time, I wanted to go left, turn right.
It's always a challenge.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Steve, I want to ask Cole a couple of rapid fire questions here because we're getting close to the top of the hour here. But Cole, how long have you been in the trucking industry altogether?
Let's see. 2019, and then 3 years on a dog prior to that. Yeah. So I'd say roughly we're coming up on 9 years.
That's
a little bit part time too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So, what did you do before you become a truck driver?
Well, I mean, back in high school, we have a technical school that's affiliated with our high school. I was going to school for welding, and got out high school. Actually graduated. I was pretty impressed with that. But went to a warehouse job, worked there for about a year, and really Beta High came knocking on my door after he won in 2017 and made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And here we are.
It's amazing to me to see first, second, third generation truck drivers anytime, and I think it's a great thing. I'm a first generation truck driver, anyway, but it's amazing. My hat's off to you, Cole, and looks like you got a very good mentor and friend there, and looks like y'all doing some things right for sure. We're fixing to get ready to post trip the show and get out of here, but Steve, I'm going to give Steve the opportunity to ask a couple questions before we actually tune out.
Cole, when you was a little one, Dad being a truck driver, did that enter your mind? I mean, you said you went into welding, but was trucking on your mind?
I mean, it was always there. It was always, escape route, really. But I didn't think it was going to come on as hard as it did. And it grabbed me, and I couldn't get away from it.
Ain't nothing like diesel smoke in the AM. Right off the bat.
I love me some diesel smoke. The old man knows that, right?
Diesel smoke and a cup of coffee.
Hey, somebody's calling in. Let's take a phone call, okay? Mr. Ben Atkinson, welcome to Truckers Voices. How you doing there, sir?
Man, I'm excited. It's been a while since I talked to you. Been a great show. I'd love to hear this father and son team. This thing is fantastic, man. Fantastic. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, well, thank you for calling. If I remember right, you're going to nationals, right?
I'm going to Nashville, but I'm gonna be with the ATA this time.
Okay.
I follow the guy Tim Taylor and do some announcing up there. So hopefully I won't butcher their names up too much. But
just don't get no ideas of putting your own podcast on, and we'll be all right, Ben.
Yeah. All right, so these gentlemen here, they're from what state? Maryland.
Maryland, and I'm from Maryland, and he's from West Virginia.
Okay. So we got Holowinski, Stephen, and Brian from ABF. They're coming up there. They're out of there. So I'm trying to learn their names too, so I don't mess it up too much. But no, to hear real quick, I know you got to go, but to hear the family connection, when I got into TDC, that's what I did. It made my family so much bigger, and I'm proud to be a part of it. I'm going to be there cheering you guys on, and every person out on that course, I'm going to be their number one fan because I want them all to go to the fullest potential, fullest potential they can.
Yep.
Well, Ben, make sure if you see Mikey and Cole that you go over and introduce yourself to them. I'll tell you how to see who he is. He's usually somebody that's real big and tall with gray hair. And if you start talking fishing, you won't get away. So don't talk.
Hey, I like fishing.
He's right in my lane. You know my lane. I'm always fishing. So,
stretching out that line, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'll be up there announcing the names, so hopefully I'll be able to slow down and be able to say hello. But good luck, guys, and hey,
thank you.
Steve, good to hear from y'all.
Thanks for calling, Ben. Appreciate it. See you up there.
Yeah.
Ben, thanks for calling.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
See you, buddy.
Yes, sir. That's
all right. Well, hey, we had one phone call come in tonight. I should have put the T-shirt on how many phone calls we could get tonight, right?
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's been great having y'all on Truckers Voices,
sure.
And Steve and I, and we always end with a word of encouragement. And so I'm going to give you and Cole that opportunity. You can do anything from, encouraging a younger generation about the trucking industry or to a safety tip, whatever y'all want to do. So I'll just start out with you, Cole. What would you tell somebody?
Well, don't get ahead of yourself. Whenever you get ahead of yourself, I've noticed I start rushing. That's when mistakes happen.
Right.
Slow down. Take your time. Think about what you're doing.
Absolutely.
It's kind of funny you said that because that's kind of the same lane I was going. But the thing is, like he mentioned, everybody gets in a hurry. And if everybody just slow down and just take a couple seconds to think about what they're doing, and you're better off to slow down and take a little extra bit of time to get where you're at than be involved in an accident and not make it there. Everybody wants to get home. So slow down, just think a couple seconds ahead of time before you go making a drastic move on the road.
Absolutely. Steve, last words of encouragement and before we go off there here, brother.
All right. Thank you both for being here. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing y'all in a couple weeks. And like I always say, just to add to what them two said, remember the most important trip is a trip home.
Amen.
All right. Mike and Cole, y'all just hang out with us until we go off there. We will speak to you on the other side here. But
right.
I just want to tell everybody, hey, school's fixing to get back in. So watch those school zones. People's doing their last minute traveling. I know it because I was leaving Atlanta today. And I tell you what, traffic was just heavy. So y'all need to watch out for those who aren't watching out for themselves. We'll see you right here This is on the next stream. See y'all later.
I've been going all week in a semi truck. I'm doing anything I can to try to get back home. See the woman I love and the babies I miss. It's tough all over, no I can't pretend. And then I'm gone again. Well, it's tough all over, I see it every day. A good man working hard to try to earn a decent wage. There's a struggle everywhere, no matter where you've been. And then I'm gone again. I ain't saying nothing you ain't already heard. When you're a man on the road, you gotta take the word. When I leave out of town, I tell my babies I'm sorry, cause they don't understand that I'm working for them. And then I'm gone again. Well, it's tough all over, I see it every day. A good man working hard to try to earn a decent wage. There's a struggle everywhere, don't matter where you've been. And now I'm gone again.